Welcome to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. In this episode of Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered, the Cyprus Chamber of Commerce and Industry showcase titled Going Global Entrepreneurs on Stage featured a group of forward-thinking companies that are scaling their operations, expanding into international markets and contributing to Cyprus's growing reputation as a hub for innovation and business excellence. The session was moderated by Dr. Yanna Darili and included a panel of pioneering individuals from the Cypriot Diaspora who have excelled in fields of science, business, finance, shipping, energy and investment. This session was recorded live on May 7th, 2026 at the Cyprus Diaspora Forum, held at the AMARA Hotel in Limassol, Cyprus.
Each of these individuals have done amazing things, and I think you've read their resumes. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but now we are going to move into a small, brief couple of questions for our panelists before they begin speaking to perhaps, these six wonderful startups that are here today. So Cyprus may be a small country. However, we do know it has great minds, increasingly influential businesses in many different sectors. In your view, what is Cyprus's greatest competitive advantage today in the global economy? Question for each of you.
Right. I think predominantly the main advantages that Cyprus has is global positioning. I think there's a lot of investment in Cyprus, a lot of potential for investors and local business to actually expand. Having lived and worked overseas in many industries before, I found when I came to Cyprus, it would be a small environment. It's exactly the opposite. The opportunities here are huge because you're a 2-hour flight away from the whole of Europe and your connectivity is much more. We always think the United States or Europe being in, you have hundreds of millions of people at your disposal in terms of doing business. In Cyprus, we have the whole of Europe, which is hundreds of millions of people within 2 hours flight away, which is a lot longer than flying, as Demetrios was saying, from one side of the States to the other in terms of actually doing business there as well. So your positioning, your interest in investment, the safety, the lifestyle of people being able to live here, and the tax reasons definitely create a very good opportunity.
That's a great question, and I think I agree with Demetrios, what he said earlier. I think it's the mindset and the culture. I think people are a little bit more open to looking at what's happening in other places, how they can adjust it to Cyprus. But also, I think there's this level and this sense of confidence and ambition that some might think, being in such a small place, geographically small, how can you have that ambition? But I think the people here have it, and that's important. They think big. Like our company was founded here 40 years ago, and now it's in many different places in the world, and we have the ambition to grow even bigger. And I'm not saying it doesn't take work or it's not as hard. Sometimes it can be harder, but I think the ambition is there. And the willingness to learn and grow is there as well.
Yeah, what they said.
We may have gone through this with Demetrios earlier, so we apologize.
I will add that to everything that they said, because all of it makes a lot of sense. But you know what? Right now, no one's going to see us coming. So Cyprus has an advantage because we have all of those things that you've already said and what everyone else is saying in this forum, which is all really, really valuable things. But you know what? It's still sort of like nobody's going to see us coming. So
that's the takeaway today. No one's going to see you coming.
We should think about that as an advantage.
I don't know if I'm going to be that bullish, but no, I do. It does resonate. The mindset of the people, I think, is what differentiates us. And in a weird sense, the biggest disadvantage of the place, which is its size, it's a small market, it's also the biggest advantage. In the sense that, by definition, you cannot build a huge company out of Cyprus if you're catering to the local market. So you have to look outdoors. You have to start engaging with people. You have to start, you have to dare to think big. And I think that's something that, at least building Hellas Direct, we've seen it in many of the people, of the Cypriots that we brought back, or that are working with us in Greece or Romania right now.
Let's stay with Alexis for a moment. One question for each panelist, and then we'll introduce our companies. AI, animation, everything is, automation rather, is changing very rapidly, as we said earlier. And you were ahead of the curve there with your two Cypriot brothers that are very successful with Hellas Direct. I don't know if you know their backstory. You've shifted insurance from customer experience. It's very interesting. They can get insurance fast. How are you going to be scaling globally now with your company?
I don't think insurance will ever be a global game, but definitely a regional one. So the way that we've expanded the company, we're now quite big with about 300 million in revenue, 1.4 million customers, and that's from Greece and Romania alone. We think that we can go in blind spot markets in Europe. Back to your point about nobody saw us coming, I think that resonates very well. And I think from then on, it's just, having the audacity to try it. Fall 7, rise 8, as we say internally. You said it very well in your fireside chat before, Dimitri. And just never stop learning and keep pushing on that innovation boundaries, which I think that's something that we do really well in Cyprus, and I'm very proud for that.
Absolutely. And you have great accountants, by the way.
Too many of them. More techie guys.
Everybody needs an accountant, a lawyer, and guess what? Cyprus is not short of that. Despina, you are next. Shipping's becoming smarter. It's becoming more digital. It's increasingly connecting. Greece is a leader in shipping, and there are many Cypriot companies as well. In a time of this geopolitical crisis, there's supply chain disruption, uncertainty in the markets. Where do you see maritime technology trending, and how can Cyprus remain competitive in this transition?
You're absolutely right. There's a lot going on, especially in our sector. And I come from the tech and SATCOM side of things. So you mentioned a certain entrepreneur before, and we actually work with his company. So he brought a lot of disruption into our industry, and I think that's been fantastic. The companies that were able to be in front of that disruption and make sure that they don't resell satellite communications, but they're an integrator in the business, that they can build digital infrastructure that uses all this technology. We see that they're the ones that are regulating, in quote marks, the game. I think maritime technology is changing really fast. The possibilities now are becoming endless because of the evolution of the SATCOM industry. And Greece is really there at the forefront, and I think it will continue to be because we have the actual industry there. We know what the industry wants. It's many different aspects of shipping. We have the benefit of, being Greeks. Our culture is like that as well, but also because the industry is there, we have the possibility to be in rooms, the ship owners together with the tech providers, and really sit down and figure out what we need to move forward. And I think that's something that we've been doing, and it's really helped us progress. And I'll just make a parenthesis here. Dodothios is a SATCOM's business. So Cyprus, you're right, there's a lot of accountants, there's a lot of lawyers, but really, and for the people in the room that want to build startups, I would say think big. We can be in many, many industries.
Think big, think data, think payroll. What does Thomson Reuters have over Cyprus, huh? I mean, you could make one, a payroll company. Mr. Constantinides, cybersecurity, defense, innovation, infrastructure, resilience have become strategic priorities globally today. As neighboring regions are facing this conflict and rebuilding is necessary, where can Cyprus lead in this sector and be a good partner in the things that have happened in the region? How can it position itself?
Okay, Cyprus at this stage is not the largest of countries to actually lead in a particular industry within the region, but definitely
Infrastructure, building, nothing of that sort.
There's quite a few different industries that you can go to. However, one of the big areas that Cyprus can help it due to its positioning is one in technology infrastructure, data centers, because it's off the grid. It's out of the way, it's safer for people to keep their data information here. In things like gold reserves, we've negotiated in opening major security centers to actually have gold reserves within Cyprus for the region in terms of creating infrastructures such as that. And in addition to that, there's a very big possibility to create hospital centers within Cyprus for the infrastructures within Europe. One of the big projects we've seen being developed in the past is because of the conflicts within a lot of the Arabic countries and the Israeli doctors, etc., was developing very upmarket hospital centers within Cyprus to house medical centers within Cyprus that could cater for countries that otherwise would not go to each other to actually get medical care. You know, having wealthy upmarket individuals from the Arab world visit Israeli top medical doctors, Greek doctors, etc. And Cyprus is the ideal position for that. So politically and geopolitically, rather, should I say, it's due to our position that we have centrally, being safe, out of the way in terms of the conflicts that may arise around us, close enough for people to create a second home and to create security for part of their wealth. I think Cyprus should be capitalizing on that.
Demetrios Malos. Investor priorities are shifting rapidly. We spoke about that earlier. Traditional sectors and innovation-driven opportunities are changing. Where is capital flowing today? I was touching upon that with the decades. We didn't get to that. So I'm going to get back to that question. What's attracting? What is the most strongest conviction?
I think if you monitor and track where the smartest money is going today, it's going to things that you might not expect. You know, the buzz terms that you'll hear, which is artificial intelligence and yada, yada, yada. You know, we have those things because the capital went there 15 years ago. It's not because of now. There's a very old saying on Wall Street, and that is that Wall Street is the only place in the world where you can have something on sale and nobody buys it. And normally, the things that are on sale are the things that you want to buy. You need to buy them. I don't think that when you talk about where capital, from a global institutional standpoint, where it's being deployed right now is not something that anybody would think is interesting, sexy, exciting, or anything. It's going into land. It's going into water resources. It's going into being able to create sustainable energy solutions. It's going into the idea of putting data centers in space, not on land. It's putting data centers in the sea. It's figuring out how the ocean operates before we figure out how the moon operates. It's not about, oh, we're going to put people on Mars. No, it's not about that. That's not where the money is going. The real money. That's the stuff that you're going to hear about later. And that's where you're going to go, oh, that's where I should be putting my money. That's the reason why it works that way. So money is going into figuring out how people can actually extend their lives without having to take pharmaceuticals, you know, and to understand how the human body works and how the human mind helps to heal the human body without the requirement of drugs. That's where real money is going today.
Well, you've heard it.
Thank you for listening to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for more inspiring conversations that are shaping Cyprus's global future. You can also explore more episodes on our website and selected video interviews on our YouTube channels.